Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Lots of stakes action at Belmont Park on Thursday as we kick off the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. We're going to take a look at race number 7, the Grade 3 Intercontinental Stakes. Our stakes preview presented by DRF Bets. Easy deal. Learn more. DRF.com/bet. Sign up, get free cash. Sounds too good to be true? It's not. Here is the field for the Grade 3 Intercontinental. We are going 7 furlongs for older fillies and mares. Morning line favorites, the 6. Lady Alexandra, who beat a couple of these last time out off a very long layoff in the license fee stakes. And I think you really have to look at Lady Alexandra one of two ways, Mike. You're going to say, well, she came back as a 4-year-old, bigger, stronger, tougher, and she finally achieved the potential that she had shown in spurts for Chad Brown as a 3-year-old filly. Or she just took advantage of a really nice trip and pace setup, and she might be vulnerable at a short price.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't argue with anybody who decided to argue either of those sides with me. I'm going to take a little bit of a negative position on her, not a big one, just a little bit of one. Obviously, if she comes back in her second start and runs as well as she did in the license fee, then she'll probably just win. It was a pretty impressive performance first time for Grand Motion, but all the other things that you said are true as well. I mean, that pace just did not develop at all. She just sat right there, and she took it over in the stretch, and she was a very easy winner. I thought she was really impressive, Dan. But if she's going to be a really short price favorite here, I'm going to take a shot against
that. 104 Beyer speed figure was earned over a wet turf course, a good turf course. It was about 20 points higher than anything she's ever earned. So you really can certainly be dubious. And if you believe in race shape and that she was aided by the race shape, well, then I think you give extra points to the license fee runner-up, the number 10 Stormy Victoria, who was last on the backstretch, last turning into the stretch, swung widest, and then came with an okay run. I think while we've always liked her at shorter distances, 6 might be a little bit too short with that kind of pace scenario. I like her a lot better at 7.
Yeah, she's already shown that she'll fire a good shot at 7 furlongs, especially if she gets any kind. She doesn't need a huge setup. She needs a little bit of a setup, and she'll come running. I thought she ran fine last time. I am sort of in the position with her now, and she does have a little bit of excuse last time, but her last 2 races, to me, they aren't as sharp as some of her prior performances. So I want to see her show up and run her very best race. I think she will need her very best race to win this race on Thursday, but she's good enough to do it. I think the 7 furlongs helps. If they just go a little bit in front of her, Dan, she's going to come flying through the stretch.
I'm interested in your thoughts on the 5th place finisher in the license fee, the 3 Always Thinking, a filly who on occasion, when she gets some pace, comes with a big late run. And that was impossible last time out in the license fee because of the pace scenario. She was forced to be closer to the pace, and she just was one-paced around there. Can you make the argument that she's better than what the license fee looks? Or can you say there are better closers than she is, and she's better suited underneath, if at all?
I mean, I just think she's better suited underneath, and I do think there are better closers than her. She ran fine last time. She kept a little bit closer to the pace, and I think that was a necessity in that race because they didn't go fast. She was right behind Lady Alexandra as they turned into the stretch. She had a real look at that race. She just couldn't kick on with those horses, but she ran fine. She always runs fine. I personally think she's a couple of these horses, but she's not without any chance at all in here.
First-time turf for graded stakes winner Fabian going out for the Bob Baffert barn. This filly was good enough to be second in the test to the very good American Gal last year. I thought she disappointed in the Ruffian last time out at a short price, and I think Baffert's just trying something. You're seeing the Freud perhaps on the bottom of this pedigree. The problem is that's all I see from a turf perspective.
That's true enough. I mean, I do like the Go Zappers on turf too, and it's a Freud mare, so maybe she'll just handle turf, but doesn't it just feel like, Dan, they're just taking a shot in here? She's been a little bit of a disappointment on the main track. She's run some good races, but she's just not a top-class horse on dirt. They're going to try turf. Maybe it'll work out. I got to tell you, you know this. I hate that they worked her on turf a couple times. If they thought that she was going to handle turf, they would have just ran her on it.
Go Sapper gets 9% winners with first-time turf runners. The Dam One raced on the surface has foaled 2 turf runners that did not win, but she is by the turf-loving Freud. What Fabian might have in her corner is a pace edge, as we see from the Timeform U.S. pace projector. That is the number 8 Fabian, projected to be on the lead. The blue bar, we're expecting this race to favor horses on or near the early lead. Now, a lot of times dirt speed doesn't transfer to turf.
Yeah, that's true. And, you know, we'll see how it all plays out. Maybe she's just the fastest horse early in here, but I don't know. I look at this field and I don't think there's no other speed in this race. Malibu Stacy's down on the rail. That horse has speed. I'm Betty G. She's got a little bit of speed. The other Terra Nova horse, Heavenly Scores, off a layoff in here. She's got speed. I don't think they're going to be walking in this race.
Let's talk about I'm Betty G, gate to wire winner last time out at the 7 furlong distance. Didn't really love the field she beat, but a couple of horses have come back to win their very next starts.
Yeah.
She's just rock solid for Michael Maker. And if for some reason Fabian doesn't take to the turf, I can see a situation where I'm Betty G might be out there on the lead, sitting second, sitting sort of what the Lady Alexandra trip was from last time.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I don't know if I feel like she's really good enough. If all these horses show up at their best race, I think she might be in a little bit of trouble. But one thing you know about her, she's going to show up and she's going to run her very best race, because that's what she does. She won at this distance last time off a little bit of a layoff. She had all the best of it that day, though. There was no pace in that race. She basically walked on the lead and she held on in the stretch.
You mentioned Heavenly Score having a little bit of pace. Let's throw out her last turf race. That was way back in November. She was going 2 turns against Rimska and some very, very nice horses. She is more of a sprinting type, as we saw 4 starts back when she won over course and distance on October the 9th. I don't think she's completely out of this at a gigantic price. I am concerned about the long layoff, but I do trust John Terranova. And here's a good formulator fact for Heavenly Score. Past 4 years, older dirt to turf runners, 23% winners, a 4.23 ROI.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a really underrated trainer. He does an excellent job. He's very good with his turf sprinters. This is not an easy spot for her to come back off of a layoff, however. She's got speed, but she doesn't need the lead to be effective. She just has to improve if she's going to win this. They've tried her in a couple of different stakes races along the way, and she ran fine in those races, but she wasn't good enough to win. She's got to improve to beat this field.
Malibu Stacy breaks from the inside. That's where she broke from in her most recent start at Belmont, and she carved out the splits that day, only to be run down late. Were you disappointed she lost that race?
Yeah, especially when you consider that was the race where Rubelinda was a big favorite. Rubelinda took a look at her. She was able to turn that horse away. You felt like, well, once you turn away the 1-2 favorite, yeah, you're probably going to go on and win the race. She couldn't do it. She couldn't hold on at the end. You know, I don't know how you feel about her, Dan. I just think she's okay, and I think this race is going to be too tough for her.
Let's talk about 2 mid-pack horses that should be charging hard in the stretch, starting with Wesley Ward's number 7, Delectation. And Delectation did some good things overseas, certainly, a multiple group stakes winner in Germany, but I thought the First Lady was a decent effort last year, considering that was a race where there was no pace whatsoever, and she just tried the old in-out from the back of the pack against some really nice horses and had no chance. Last time out, Wesley Ward put her against the boys on Derby weekend in the turf sprint, going 5 furlongs. 5 furlongs a little bit too sharp for this horse. She didn't break very well, but she was running late through a little bit of traffic. I thought that was the perfect prep for this spot. 7 furlongs works. She needs some pace.
I agree with that. I almost put her on top. I wound up putting her second because I wanted to take a chance with somebody else, but I'm definitely using this horse. You liked her last time, I think, in that turf sprint race against the Colts. I think in a lot of ways you might have been right in that race. I mean, that, to me, Johnny Vasquez did nothing wrong, but just the way he was trying to rally, there was a wall in front of him. He basically spent the entire stretch run angling to the outside and not running straight. Otherwise, she might very well have won that race. I think she's a huge player in this race.
And the runner-up of that race came right back to run second in the Mighty Bow behind the venerable Long on Value last week with a 94 Beyer speed figure. The other mid-pack runner we should talk about is Thundering Sky, and we like her, I think, cutting back from a mile to 7 furlongs. She's just been in against some tough horses. Fault, Off Limits, Proctor's Ledge, etc. She fits from a class standpoint. With her, it's always been about racing luck and trip.
She just needs a trip to get a piece of this race, and I think that she can do it. Boy, she's been really unlucky since George Weaver took her out to California, I think. I think she's run really well in each of her last 2 starts. They brought her to Churchill last time. I don't know, just tried to swing to the outside in the stretch, couldn't get out with sources. She had to go back to the inside. I thought that she ran better than it looks, finishing 8th in that race. I couldn't talk myself into her on top in this race. I want to use her somewhere underneath at a price.
Let's see who you do like on top, because she is going to be a big price. She is the number 2, La Sardane for Team Valor and Neil Drysdale. Let's talk about her last race at Churchill Downs. Now, there wasn't a big pace going on, but she found herself a lot closer to the pace than in her North America debut. She really ran on in the lane.
She did. She got a perfect trip in that race. But she also really ran. I liked that performance for her, especially when you consider the first start off the layoff at Keeneland. You know, maybe they were just prepping her. I'm not sure what Flavian Pratt was doing in there, but just put her in no man's land in that race, out there in a 4-wide trip the entire way. She got tired in the stretch. I don't care about that race. She improved in her last one. She was a Group 2 winner before she got over here. That was her first start for Team Valor last June, and she ran really well that day. I just think she's a good horse who fits well in this field. She can get the right trip up close to the pace, And I actually like her going shorter. You watch that last race, she won easy. She went back to a wrong lead late in that race. Like maybe she doesn't really want to go that far. I like her cutting back to 7.
And it was nice to see that she could be a little bit more forward. Timeform US's blue bar indicates she doesn't have to be too far off of this pace. You're going with the price, the 2 La Sardane, but you'd also have to use others in here.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm not totally sold on her, but I want to bet her in this race, especially if she's going to be a big price. And I'm just going to take a small chance against Lady Alexandra. I'm not, I'm going to use her in multis, but I'm not going to use her on the win end in here. I'm going to use Delectation too. She's my other horse.
2-7-6-4 for Mike. I landed on Lady Alexandra. I would not bet her to win at anything less than 5-2. I think she will be less than 5-2. I won't bet her to win at that price because of the question marks. I do wonder if Graham Motion, though, is sort of found the whole card in the first start. We always talk about Lady Alexandra as the horse that has the tactical ability to make her own trip. She always puts herself in a good spot. I expect her to be in a good spot turning into the stretch. We'll find out what we get. But for me, it's a spread race. I'm going 6, 7, 10, and 3, and I'll use all of those in multiple race wagers in the Grade 3 Intercontinental, race number 7 at Belmont on Thursday. Once again, if you sign up for a DRF Bets account right now, you can take advantage of free cash. Join the Belmont Stakes action at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Grade 3 Intercontinental Stakes, 5:14 Eastern. Good luck.